stepping in for game number 2 because he is here now. But Cookies, he played a damn good Monkey King in that game, as he always tends to do. And I think the returners say, you know what, let's just go ahead and have Cookies play this time around as well. He deserves a spot here in the second game after being a big part of the success there in the first game. So Angry Testy is not going to be playing the second game. And this actually set up a very interesting logic here. Coming out from FYKU, I was really curious because now you not only have Warbeast and Kinesis, 2 odd heroes that we don't see normally banned, but banned as they were last game against Emperor and Jetpins, but now you got a Monkey King against Cookies. They do have a Monkey King player themselves, though, so maybe that does lessen it a little bit. But anyways, look at those bans actually that did happen. Parasite Ophelia and then Ophelia Tundra. So none of those even banned this time.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing similar locks, actually, too. The first lock coming out, actually, from FYKU, it's Keeper of the Forest this time, so maybe they want a shot at that first big Keeper. This is kind of an interesting metagame right now. We're seeing so much attention specifically on Keeper of the Forest now, and I got to give shout-out to, I think it was TT Esports, that were the first ones to really run a Suicide Keeper, and it seems to be very effective. And so they're going to go ahead and lock that Keeper. There's the Tempest and Cthulhu font coming out from, again, these tags throw me off so much. I wanted to say DWY and Complexity. But anyway, the Tempest and Cthulhu font coming out from the Turners. There's Bubbles and Plague locked. And one thing to note, too, is we did see a Keeper of the Forest that ran as a Suicide when we saw the Returners play, I want to say, it was actually TT Esports.
Yes.
And they ran Soul Reaper with great success.
That's what it was, yeah. And that was I think that was game 2 where they actually, they looked very, very good. I think they were even down a game at that point. No, they won the first game. Anyways.
They won 2-0.
Against TT Esports? No, that was 2-1. It was 2-1, I thought. I'm blanking out, too. I think it was 2-1 against TT Esports.
I'm going to double-check on that.
Anyways, the point still stands, yes. I remember that Soul Reaper game, and that was, of course, played by Angry Test, as you said, and that was entertaining to watch, definitely. Seeing a hero like that we never really get to see do very, very well and be a big part of the success for the team in that game. So, now, as you may have noticed right there, I was actually checking real quickly to make sure that something else was happening, but it looks like Team Kirk is playing Q Squad. Their game is actually in the locking stage right now. So that, again, that really does just make the day now, because that makes this match actually have a meaning in the end, just like that other match does, because if other returners happen to get a victory here or take the series 2-0, they need Team Kirk to at least win one game, just one game against Q Squad, and then they will finish top 3, and that would just be pretty entertaining to see, coming down to the finish here. So can't wait for that. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about here in game number 2, though. The locks did happen. We had, as you said, the Keeper, the Tempest, the Cthulhu Font, Bubbles, Plague Rider, and Monkey King in the final lock. And then into that banning phase, Pebbles, Fade, Nymphora, Silhouette, Jerizaiah, and one more band to go. But FYKU, they do have the first pick this time, of course. Interested to see if they go for the Monkey King themselves this time.
Yeah, definitely. I did want to confirm. Yeah, I was wrong. It seems like it was so long ago, but TT Sports did lose. It was 2-1. Sorry, or 1-2, I should say, against the returners. So, anyway, yeah, Monkey King would be fun to pick up yet again. It seems a very entertaining hero to watch, and Cookies plays it very aggressively. So, so reiterating the bans just a bit. Pebbles, Fade, and for a Silhouette. Jerizaiah, one more ban coming out from Emperor. Let's see what he wants to get rid of. What does he not want to deal with this game?
He is not afraid to use extra time, man.
I know it. He is very liberal with that time. And I was going to say that Draconis is staring at me in the eye, probably staring at Emperor in the eye, and he does go ahead and ban that. There are other hard carries to boot with that. Silhouette's banned, but Magebane and Dark Lady. And we'll have to see what Shizor decides is first pick worthy here in this game.
Something tells me it is going to be that Dark Lady. I think that they really do like that Dark Lady themselves, as so many teams do, of course. Draconis, of course, he made it through the banning phase last game, but still wasn't picked up in the end with 6 of the regular total picks by either of the teams. Banned this time around, though, but yeah, Dark Lady, I'm sure there are in that, but of course you have your Glacius, your Luna, they're on the board, and you also have Flux on the board, who FYKU apparently values very high here as their first pick up. So that was a little bit different there. Did not see that coming, especially with a first pick. Not something you'd usually first pick, but Flux taking here, first pick by FYKU.
Very interesting, to say the least. Maybe they're going to go for that Flux Engineer combination. I feel like, were they the ones that did it? Yes. No, it was actually the first pick Flux Engineer from, I think, Pika. Yeah. Team Pika.
Yes.
And they were very aggressive with it. There's that first pick, a Luna coming out from the returners. Right-click and Rally. Of course, Rally is not eligible in tournament play just yet.
He is actually in tournament play.
Oh, Rally is.
But he
well,
is not playable in this tournament. So
that's right.
He is banned, just like the new item. The 6 new heroes and the new items that were introduced into tournament play are not actually eligible for this tournament, though. They will be starting eligible, of course, with Han Tour, though. So I am excited for that. But Deadwood going to be the follow-up pick to Aluna. So interesting stuff there. And again, another case, though, I believe, weren't they the ones who were on Deadwood as well?
Yes.
We talked about.
Yeah, Enso actually played the Deadwood and was very aggressive with it and played it very well. And seems to really own with it. Now, they did last time they did a dual-lane Deadwood with, like, Deadwood Glacius mid. It was kind of funky. But it worked out really well. This time they have a Luna instead of Glacius. Obviously, Glacius is still on the board, but something tells me they're not going to go for both Glacius and the Luna. Not that it's wrong, but we're going to see a Gladiator. We're going to see some weird combination.
Interesting.
I'm seeing from FYKU. Maybe a Gladiator Flux, Engineer, Tempest Keeper. It would be just this mass AoE, mass ultimate team. Would be a lot of fun to watch. If they could pull it off, that's another question.
Yeah, it's clear that FYKU, you know, they again in the end they ultimately have nothing on the line here other than pride, other than trying to play the upset dogs, you can say, and try to ruin things for the returners here. But you know, you got to get the props at the same time for even showing up in the first place, especially with all the other forfeits that happen with other teams that were in a similar spot. So it is awesome seeing them here. You know, they gave a great effort in game number 1. That was just crazy play by the returners. But here we are in game number 2. They are trying something different, and I'm excited. There we go with the Keeper of the Forest pick up from the lock pick first off. So it's setting up to be a lot of AoE synergy over here on the side of FYKU. Of course, the final 2 lock picks going to be coming up from the returners now. It is going to be Cthulhu Font. And we'll see what they finish off with. They went with Demented Shaman, by the way, as their final regular pick, too. It is going to be Bubbles, actually, with their final regular pick. And now FYKU has an option here. I gotta think Plague Rider. I mean, he seems to fit well with this combination of heroes.
I think they could actually go. I was going to say
Tempest,
they could actually go Tempest because they have a Suicide Keeper, Tempest in the jungle, Solo Flux mid, and then Gladiator Glacius in that short lane. Now for the returner side, we're probably going to see a Suicide Bubbles. Jeppin seems to be like their go-to Suicide player now. Cookie's playing that Demented Shaman. That's going to be a solo Demented Shaman. That's a lot better, I feel like, for the team. Probably going to be in that short lane against what will probably be a Keeper of the Forest solo. And I got to say, Demented Shaman would work wonders against him. Demented Shaman always a strong 1v1, but when you put him 1v1 against a melee, you spam that heal bomb, it does considerable amounts of damage.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I mean, Cookie's playing that Demented Shaman, the whole lineup over here for FYKU specifically.
Yeah.
This is the makings. Like I said, game number 1, it was a very entertaining game, and it was cool to see that. Game number 2, here we are, and it's the makings of a possibly great game as well. So I'm glad, of course, we did eventually get the chance to cast the series, and it actually happened. I want to clarify on something where we're talking about the items that were eligible and whatnot. Just to quickly clarify, obviously what I meant by that, the 2 items was the 2, both Sacrificial Stone and Icon of the Goddess, that became eligible for tournament mode. Obviously there was more items that were introduced in the patch recently, but those aren't going to be in tournament mode until for a while, I'm sure. So, but the items and heroes that became eligible for tournament mode, those 6 heroes and then the 2 items, are not actually eligible for this specific tournament because it was in mid-process of happening, of course. So, just to clarify on that. But anyways, we do have Cthulhu Font and Bubbles down here at the bottom lane. You do got Luna also. Someone running down there? Nope, never mind. I guess she's going to turn around. Bubbles just going to be glad to do it himself, places the ward of sight, and he will fall back. But Legion side, I'd say that their lanes actually look pretty as you would expect it even. But are we going to see, is it going to be Suicide Tempest or Keeper, though, do you think? Do you have a preference?
I think Suicide Keeper is much better. But where is Keeper? I can't find him. He is in. So solo mid Keeper. I think Tempest is just up here to get the deny. Here's the reason why. Tempest usually gets crushed in a Suicide lane. Yes, does have the deny. That's all fine and dandy, but pretty much loses to like almost anything up in that top lane. But Tempest also farms faster than almost anybody in the forest. Yes, Keeper can farm quickly in the forest as well, but he also does much better in that Suicide role. But it looks like they are going to send that Suicide Tempest and have Keeper farm up in the jungle. And I got to say, Cookies, I feel like is going to have a field day up here with this lane.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. We do got Flux, actually. It's going to be going 1 versus 2 off the bat against, of course, Deadwood Aluna here. in the middle lane, so that is definitely interesting. Of course, the fun thing about Flux, so look at his base life already, 739 life. He does have a couple of crushing claws as well as minor totems, but just so much life, being that strength range hero that he is. I like the fact that Cthulhu Fawn and Keeper of the Forest are kind of right next to each other, farming their own creep camps, but not, and they are going to say hi to each other right here. This Cthulhu Fawn is just going to walk away with the Hook'em activated and be fine. Bottom lane, Bubbles taking a lot of pressure, actually, from Glacius. He was ready to freeze. The health potion's activated. Bubbles is going to get a full health potion off, it looks like. No, the final auto attack coming out, canceling it right there. Are we going to see a freeze? No, we're not, at least just yet. And Bubbles will go all the way back to the tower. But, wow, Cores here on Glacius just really letting Bubbles know that he ain't going to get anything going here at the bottom lane.
The constant denies coming out from Guifix, but very good job by Cookies by canceling his mana potion right away. He's got 2 more left on him. Also, one of the great things that I'm thinking about here with Demented Shaman against Tempest is obviously Tempest has that natural deny ability, which pushes the lane back, as you can see already. But Demented Shaman is one of those amazing pushers, so if he decides to get aggressive on you and say, like, hey, you want to deny your lane? Okay, let me just push this in 2 minutes. He could do that.
Yeah, I mean, as you said earlier, with a healing wave, it just quickly not only takes down the creeps that they're going up against, but it heals up his own creeps, of course.
Right.
So it is a very, very powerful tool for playing some early aggression and some early push. And, we do see the lane being pushed up, as you would expect with him against that Tempest. And we'll see if that's a decision that Demented Shaman decides to make, maybe around the level 4 or 5 mark, even getting the level 3 healing wave. So middle lane, we do have Ninja Pewee here on Flux. That's actually interesting. Ninja Pewee playing Flux. They have Shizor actually playing Gladiator. Usually their carry player seems to be Ninja Pewee, but Shizor this time playing that carry role in Gladiator. Speaking of Gladiator, by the way, so again, it seems like they're going for more of an AoE synergy lineup, but of course, when I think Gladiator, at least I think the old school tri-lane era with specifically Fnatic MSI and Trixie playing that Gladiator, and the build that we always saw, Helm of the Black Legion into Assassin Shroud, into eventually Rift Shards, if I do recall correctly. So I wonder if things have changed, or if Shizor may go for something very similar here.
That's pretty much the standard build on Gladiators, is using that crit out of the Shroud to give you a massive burst damage in a very large area. And I gotta say, good, smart decision-making coming out from Shizor. He's actually opted to save his skill points.
True,
He does not want to use that flagellation to push up the wave. So he's going to save those skill points and level them when he needs them, or when they know they can push the lane and not have Bubbles, soak up any kind of free farm.
Yeah, that's very interesting, actually. Not often you see that holding back points, but obviously it makes sense here, as you said, by Shizor playing this Gladiator. So currently has 2 points to use, and I was not putting them in stats. I think we could be pretty confident that's not the case. Unfortunately, we can't see that with the Spectator UI, but probably not putting it into the stats. But anyways, Flux, how is he building, actually? We definitely see some different builds. He actually chooses to get the 1 level into Polarity Swap here early on. I've definitely been curious about that, because we've seen Fluxes before where they just pass up on that all the way until even something like 9 or 10, where they're kind of forced to get it in that sense. Bubbles getting a freeze here from Glacius, but Bubbles going to do a lot of return damage himself, maybe even Shell Surf here. No, he's not going to go for that. But again, continuing to harass one another. But yeah, he's going for the 2 into this Q right now, the release, 1 into the Magnetic Surge, and then 1 into his E, which of course allows, it not only gives him bigger range on his auto attacks, also in range on the W ability, but also can allow him to change between push and pull. So very interesting logic there. But he's going to get the Invisible Rune top, actually, and come back to the middle lane here. So how's he doing? Flux is only 5-1, so as expected, not having a good time against Deadwood, who's 26-12. Enzo doing work here.
Yep, you got to compare that to the Gladiator, of course, who has 27-15, so pretty much neck and neck with him. But you also have a jungler in Cthulhu Fawn. He's farming well. He's not farming that well. This is part of the reason why I'm just not a big fan of Cthulhu Fawn, because they could have picked up Tempest. And in this passive play, obviously, Tempest does farm faster, but in this case, actually in the jungle, it's Keeper. So you have to compare Keeper's farm to Cthulhu Fawn's farm. And how's that matching up? Well, Keeper has a little bit more farm. He does farm a little bit quicker. He's going to have this Ring of Sorcery probably pretty soon. And then you can see a very fast farm from him in the jungle. Also the potential to push once he gets at level 6. It's just not the same with the Cthulhu Fawn. Yes, that ultimate does do damage, but it's just not nearly as effective as that Keeper route.
Oh, Tempest here at the top side in a lot of trouble, actually. Guifix is going to end up falling right here. Emperor on Cthulhu Fawn. Guess what? Gets the Bloodlust kill. So no doubt his roam right there, setting up a great trample initially. You think a powerful lane combination, by the way. That right there is very powerful. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, Fitz getting a lot of trouble, actually. They get the turnaround to kill on Glacius. Will it be enough for us to survive for Luna? No, it will not. Shizor finishes her off, and the tower goes down on top of that. So when it's all said and done, pretty good news there for FYKU. of what just happened at the bottom lane. But still, bloodless kill going in favor of the Hellborn team. Coming up for the returners there. Deadwood going at it with Flux here in the middle lane. Going to miss the Rotten Grasp right there. And actually, Flux will just be more than fine. Of course, Deadwood not level 6 just yet. But looking to apply some pressure there. So yeah, a couple of events happening here in this game now earlier on.
Yeah, I didn't really get to catch all at the bottom, but I've got to wonder if they could have killed their target a little bit quicker, had the flagellation actually be leveled up.
True.
So one kind of interesting thing right there. He does go ahead and level up the ultimate because that obviously doesn't push up the lane naturally. He does go for early Ghost Marchers as well. So yeah, we're probably going to see that typical build. Personally, I actually just like straight into Shroud. I feel like the Helm of the Black Legion is kind of a waste of gold in my opinion, since all you're really trying to accomplish with him is just getting that massive crit. And you don't really need that health, I feel like, in a team fight. You're normally just kind of poking in with your whip, and then that's about it. He's going to get initiated on here, though. The grasp does hit, and a double damage. Deadwood does so much damage. Actually, Jetpins gets credit for the kill.
Yeah, Falcon Punch wasn't even needed right there. That was just really a case of Gladiator perhaps overstaying his welcome a little bit too long. Of course, he was pushed up. There is no tower here. So the Hellborn team just took advantage of that. The lack of wards, maybe they just despawned here or something, but the no vision obviously didn't help Gladiator well. So he was definitely playing risky, and the returners really made him pay as a result of that. Deadwood coming back to the middle lane now. If they can catch Flux, he can definitely pick up a kill again with his ultimate still being up. And a big thing to remember about that ultimate, it does reduce 20% strength, I believe. Yeah, lowers total strength by 20%. So in a sense does even more damage, especially against beefier heroes like this Flux, who is a strength-focused hero. Nearly 1,000 life already saved up on him. So another important thing to keep in mind. Demented Shaman at the top lane. A little bit of pressure himself, but not nearly enough to get him taken out. Speaking of Demented Shaman, expected him to have a decent game here so far early on. And it is. Cookies is at 320 gold per minute. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, actually, initiation coming. There's a Gladiator ultimate. Will catch Deadwood. Flagellation is leveled up, and Deadwood will fall as a result of that. Keeper of the Forest Root also helping, of course. Flux ultimate not even needed right there with that discharge. In fact, hasn't even leveled it. But they're going to now pressure this middle lane. And with Deadwood down, this is actually a good chance for our Legion team to make something happen. Cthulhu Font and Aluna, though, are nearby. In fact, there we go with the trample. It's going to miss everyone. No, it doesn't. Keeper of the Force. The good pull, though, by Flux. There comes the Invis and the regeneration. The Cutfield coming out. Will it be enough to save Keeper of the Force? Yes, it will for now. Bubbles is actually going to be taken out right there as Cthulhu Font still wants that chase. Another regen applied. Cthulhu Font has a trample. Can he use the time? Yes, he will get the trample, but it's not enough for the kill. Keeper of the Force will survive. Cthulhu Font now in trouble. Not enough mana on Gladiator for that pitfall, though, and that could be the difference, although Flux does have a pull ready to go. There's the pull. He's not in range of rescue. And comes a Falcon Punch, and Deadwood does get revenge when it's all said and done.
I can't believe Keeper just escaped like that. He had such little HP. We saw there at the end, Fitzka trying to mana potion himself up to give himself enough mana for that power throw. Tried to find Keeper, but Keeper was just too far away. Nice try, but nonetheless, actually in the top lane, Demented Shaman applying a lot of pressure to this tower as well as the Tempest player. And he's doing a lot of damage. His tower is getting very close to dying. He does use that heal bomb. Tempest trying to set something up. He does use the ultimate, actually. And the tower is attacking him, but it switches targets. There's the heal bomb. He's going to get the kill. Very interesting turn of events. The tower actually switched targets to that ranged creep. Flux is trying to pursue this Demented Shaman. He needs to get a little bit closer to use that magnetic pull, but he's not going to get it, and Cookies gets out safe.
No ultimate on Flux just said. I do question that a little bit. I mean, if he had his ultimate right there, both in the middle fight that was going on and even right there, it could have set up actually a couple of kills. But the other thing was, where was the port? I expected the port for the longest time. Bubbles at the bottom line in the meantime. He's in a lot of trouble. He is able to shell surf in time, though. But in comes a Flagellation auto attack. Can he get the angle? No, it does not hit Bubbles. Just at a range, I believe. So he will survive. Top tower is going to be denied here by Flux. So well put in his part. And actually, Deadwood going back in, taking the nuke right there with the release. And he'll be slowed and just walk away. He did have an invis room bottled up. But anyways, the Flux port, and I don't know if that was just miscommunication or what, but the port took forever. And finally Flux came in, but Tempest was dead at that point. So really, it's that had the potential to be beautiful there from FYKU, but again, just a miscommunication, I guess, and results in Demented Shaman having a good time when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just miscommunication or people just not paying attention, or if it was because there was a team fight not too long ago in the mid lane. If people had already ported to that lane, I wasn't 100% sure. Maybe that's what it was too. But either way, I think it was kind of funny that the tower was attacking Demented Shaman.
Yeah,
Demented Shaman obviously couldn't do anything because he was just sitting there, and then it switched targets to the archers. So if I'm if I'm Greefix, I'm a little upset about that.
Oh, Deadwood's invisible right here. Flux, that's an illusion. No, that is a real Flux. That looks like an illusion for some reason. He will use his release ability. Power throw will hit him, actually, though. In comes Tempest. Nice trample from Cthulhu the Fun, and down goes Flux right there. We do see Cthulhu the Fun in the front line, so he does have the hook him activated, though. Keeper the 4 is going to be picked off as well. And yet again, it took a little bit longer this game, but the returners is starting to get now into a very aggressive mode, just like they were last game. And now we are looking at a 7-3 hero kill advantage coming up to the 11-minute mark here. Aluna, she also had a big part in that. Great power throw by Fitsuke all the way at the top lane, who's, by the way, free farming the top lane as the ward bitch support Aluna, but even had her part in that fight. So well played right there. And now the Hellborn team going to apply some pressure to the defensive tower. You got Tempest and Glacius nearby. Tempest doesn't have his ultimate. It's still on about a minute cooldown. But will this tower take enough pressure to maybe be close to the deny range? It doesn't look like it. They're not going to stay long enough, and it will be fine. So aggressiveness is starting to pick up, though, from the returners here.
Yeah, definitely. They're getting the items up. Cookies, it looks like, is going to go for a straight Hellflower. He has that Scarab as well as that Apprentice's robe. And, of course, his basic items, the upgraded power supply, the Ring of the Teacher, Steam Boots. And Deadwood obviously looking towards that Blink. He's actually quite a ways away, considering he was farming so well in the mid. Maybe he bought something else, not 100% sure. Flux just build and tank, man. He's got 2 now of those fortified bracers as well as those Steam Boots. And with that, he has about, well, he'll have about 1,400 HP, which is a lot. Other items to be shown. Cthulhu Fawn, pretty much all the basic items right now with everybody. Steam Boots and, you know, power supplies and things like that. As far as Gladiator goes, he is going the build that I really think is much better. He's going to go straight for Shroud.
Here we go with the Pitfall. It will not hit Bubbles. It was very, very close. The vulnerability going to come out, of course. What can they deny the tower at the very least? The freeze going to be used on the Bubbles. Can he pour it out in time? Yes, he can with that Shell Surf. Flux does have his ultimate if they want to try to pursue, but it's just not worth it. They can't get close enough. Pinky Curdy will deny the tower in the process. So 2 tower kills, both of them being denied here by our Legion team. So that's some good news coming out. But as you said, you know, I pulled up this gold per minute chart, and Gladiator 280 GPM, not bad, but Demented Shaman, man, 403 gold per minute. Cookie's doing fantastic here. You mentioned an early Hellflower possibility. He already has the first Arcana finished, and another Steam Staff picked up. But a good middle tower push coming out here from the Legion team, and this is the power of FYKU. You guessed it from the very beginning. I mean, it's obvious with their lineup. They had a lot of team fight potential, so the Hellborn team, they do need to be very cautious of that. They're going to try to set up a counter right here. Give it the force. There's the pull in from Flux. Where's the root? The root can't get off. Can he get the root off? No, he's a silent lockdown. Gets him killed. The Tempest ultimate going to pull in Bubbles out. And Demented Shaman. And Deadwood apparently. Finally, the trample coming out. Tempest will fall. And Gladiator falls back. Gladiator had his ultimate the whole time. I was waiting for the call to arms. Where was the Chariot? I do not know. He's going to be pulled by Flux, trying to disorient them a little bit. He's going to Ghost Marchers, but it's just not going to be enough, I don't think. Oh, yes, the trample will hit. And Gladiator falls. Where was his ultimate? I have no clue.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We almost saw that God Comp coming out. The ultimate wasn't used from Gladiator.
Keeper.
It also wasn't used from Keeper,
Yeah.
and that's really huge. We see the potential. I mean, you see those ultimates, the Flug, all of those. Actually, 4 out of 5 of those ultimates. Even the Glacial Downpour, actually, could do a considerable amount of damage with the setup that you have. But it's just a matter, it's a whole other story of trying to actually execute it properly. You're going to feel, I feel like you're going to need things like Portal Keys to really set it up properly. We'll have to wait and see. That was about as close as you can get, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Keeper the Forest, he was in mid-animation. He tried several times. The first one was, I think, maybe the Luna stun, and then something else just knocked him over, and then the Song of the Sea silence. So, yeah, he kept trying, but he just was not able to get it off. And that started maybe even a chain effect of just not being able to pursue it effectively. But, yeah, Gladiator seemed like he had time, but maybe he just couldn't get the right angle ever, just the right positioning. For whatever reason, chose not to use his own ultimate. And so there was only Flux and Glacius ever even used. Or I guess Tempest was got his hole off as well. But anyways, one fight there coming out for the returners. You see Bubbles just going to clean up some Ancients in the meantime by himself. He's trying to recover and farm. Jeppins is now over the 200 gold per minute hump, so good for him. Demented Shaman, how close is he now? He did go a Mystic Vest perspective. Of course, he died in that fight. He's level 11, though, as well. That is 2 levels higher than anyone on the Legion team and 3 levels higher plus than the majority of them. So Demented Shaman really kind of taking almost a semi-carry role here for the team. I don't think he classifies hard carry, but he is going to be hitting pretty hard, especially once he gets that Hellfire pickup.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that ultimate just synergizes perfectly with the hero. I think it's a well-designed hero. And he's going to be hitting hard for sure. I prefer to go a little bit more of the tanky / kind of supporting healing route and then getting those maybe aggressive items after that. But, I mean, look at him. He's still sitting at 853 HP, and he can get bursted down very easily. But actually, we got double damage. Actually, that's a Deadwood there. He does have his blink. He uses it. The Round Grasp will hit. There's the ultimate from Keeper of the Forest. He does get the ultimate off on the Flux. There's the Glacial Downpour. It's going to be canceled immediately by the Song of the Sea. The Kelpville comes out. Ninja Pew will fall as well as Glacius. Big turnaround, and actually a TP coming out for Pinky Curry. The dust is used, but they're not going to find him.
Yeah, that was just a thing. FYKU right there. If they had the numbers, then they would have definitely had a very good chance in that fight. But Keeper of the Forest did his best to maybe set up a little bit of a turnaround. But with the returners, everyone ended up being there basically, other than Demented Shaman. But they had the numbers advantage, and that just definitely won it for them in the end. So Flux and Glacius fall. You say Keeper of the Forest was barely able to get out, so that's good for him. Meanwhile, though, in the bottom lane, Demented Shaman, a lot of pressure. You see there's the Storm Cloud coming out. The auto attack's being used. The Entangle is applied. And look at Tempest. He is dropping quickly. He is going to end up surviving, but that shows you right there with minimal auto attacks even from him. Still, the damage output coming from Demented Shaman. So really something that FYKU is going to have to be concerned about. Gladiator, this is also concerning. He's in the middle lane, going to get caught out right here. And yes, he'll fall when it's all said and done. Gets the pitfall off, but not nearly enough to save himself. So he's even still trying to finish his Assassin Shroud here at 16.5 minutes in and going straight for it after the Ghost Marchers. His GPM has definitely started to drop off. I mean, he was sitting at just over around 300 gold per minute for a while here earlier on, but the couple of deaths have slowed him down, no doubt. 3 deaths, actually.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what he was doing up there that far, and now he's kind of contradicting my thinking of maybe he does need that Helm of the Black Legion, but I really think the best way to build him is what he's doing right now, but he's just getting picked off too much, and I think even some build-up items would be helpful, like a power supply, but nonetheless, he's going to have that Shroud in about 500 gold or so, and that's going to be helpful when they actually get the setup that they need. The portal key is almost up. Actually, Demented Shaman doing a lot of damage. Look at those auto attacks, as you mentioned before, and he will fall to the Entangle. There's the blink coming out from actually Deadwood, and he just punches in the face. Cookies actually gets credit for that kill. And what damage we got from both Deadwood and Demented Shaman.
Yeah, and guess what? I pulled the damage chart, and sure enough, Demented Shaman is leading the overall hero damage done. He's going to help take out this tower right here. There we go. Doesn't actually get the final hit himself, but the Hellborn team gets credit for that. That's what matters in the end. He's level 13 now, farming 436 gold per minute.